everyone, my name is Mercy Ulysses. I'm a mom of two under two, a wife, a believer. I love Yeshua, he's my best friend. Today's topic is fed is best. Yes, you've heard it correctly, fed is best. Now, a lot of people who may not know, I feel like some people may know and some people may not know, but for you guys that don't know, fed is best basically means whatever you choose to feed your baby is the right thing to do. Now, a lot of people, there's a breastfeeding community, there's a formula is best community, and there's also like a pumping community. I feel like all is equal as long as your baby is healthy and you're doing what you need to do as a mom or a parent. That's all that really matters. Now, before even diving a little deeper into things, I do want to say that this is my personal experience. This is what I personally believe is best. Everyone's experience might be different. I'll start off with breastfeeding. Breastfeeding is not a one size fits all. Okay? It's not as glamorous and easy as it may seem to be. Could you find ways around it? Yes. But another thing, guys, I've also done all three with my two kids. I've done formula feeding, I've done breastfeeding, and I've done pumping. I've also done combo feeding, which is basically pumping or breastfeeding and feeding with formula as well. So you basically just supplement if you don't produce enough. You can do that. Now, I'll start with breastfeeding. Breastfeeding with my first child, I was not able to produce enough milk, so I did have to combo feed. But even before that, he had lots of trouble latching, and that is a thing. So I was very ignorant on this whole breastfeeding thing to begin with. Prior to becoming pregnant, or just in my early pregnancy days and months into it, I was told by my OBGYN, hey, are you gonna breastfeed? It's the best thing that you can do. And I'm just like, wow, like I'm super pumped up. I'm like, yeah, we're gonna do this. I got this. And I was pretty ignorant to it. I didn't know a lot. I feel like it was just shoved in my face. It was this thing that was like glorified. And while yes, it's super nutritious and all these benefits that it has for the baby, I was kind of left hanging. And I feel like that might even be a lot of people's experiences with the whole breastfeeding journey, outside of like some other things that I'll get into just now. My baby did not latch well when I was in the hospital. They just told me, oh, keep trying, keep trying. I feel like a lot of the consultants that were there weren't necessarily helpful. And I'll give them the benefit of the doubt. I'm just thinking, or assuming rather, that they were pretty busy. But even still, I feel like if I'm there for care after I gave birth, and this is something that's being promoted, I think that just a little bit more assistance would have been helpful. But back to my point, my son, he had trouble or difficulties rather latching. I even had a nipple shield, and I thought everything was a-okay. We went back home, my husband and I, and feeding was just it was not a pretty experience. Long story short, I ended up pumping and then having formula on the side as well, and just combining those two. And eventually I was just like, for my sanity, I'm going to do formula alone, because it felt like, what's the point? My supply was super low, or what I thought was low, because of, again, the just me not being knowledgeable on just the whole experience of breastfeeding and also pumping, because that was not an option, or that was not something that was in the pamphlet or talked about rather. So I tried that. So there was combo feeding and there's breastfeeding with my first. Now with my second, and then I ended up going extremely just formula feeding period. So I ended up doing breastfeeding for the first week or two. That did not work out. It was extremely traumatizing, the experience. And then I ended up doing combo feeding, and then eventually he was just formula fed with a European brand of formula that we end up using coming down to the end of the last few months of his just formula feedings. And then with my second born, he latched right away. There was no issues. No complications with that. The only thing was he had a very strong latch, so there was some pain and discomfort. And even with that, I will say that oddly enough, I had to say something. There was just bruising and swelling and just some other things that I just won't even get into because it's a little disturbing, quite frankly. But I ended up getting some help around that, and someone came and saw me and spoke to me and was just like, okay, Marissa, you have to stop like breastfeeding right now if you want to preserve your nipples. So that when I heard that, I was just like, okay, I know I wanted to do this whole breastfeeding thing, but my last baby was just formula fed and he's a-okay. So I said, hey, my husband went and got and brought some formula. We did that for the first, I think, couple of days, just so my breast can heal and everything could go back to normal. And when I was feeling comfortable, because at the end of the day, I said, you know what, my baby's being fed, and that's all that matters. He's healthy. He's well kept. And I know that okay, I can try to, once I finished healing up, I'll go back and try again. Now, this time around, we are in a different place. We moved from where we were prior, the place that we were born and raised in. So this facility, this hospital specifically that I went to was much more helpful, much more just encouraging. And there was a tad bit more information that was given coming down to the end. But I will say that that was only done after my experience with my just nipple area. So once we got home, like I said, he was on formula for a couple of days. Just monitoring him. Excuse me, what's going on? Just monitoring him, and he did okay on the formula. I started pumping, and I was still pumping for him, still trying to breastfeed in between. Once I started healing up, and my supply came in. The only thing is, which I will transfer into the pumping phase because I didn't talk too much about it with my eldest. Now with the pumping, I did not realize, nor did I know, that if you don't have the correct flange size, which is just a tube that grows around in there before you insert it into the pump, that can affect your supply. It can determine how much milk you make, whether you make little to none, or if you make enough. And with my son, once I started pumping my second born, I started to feel like I wasn't being emptied enough and I was getting pretty engorged. So what I did, I booked an appointment and I spoke with a specialist, and they actually helped me. I did a what is it called? I'm sorry, guys. A fitting. I did a fitting, and they were able to tell me, hey, this is the size that you are, and this is the appropriate flange size that you need to make, that you need to have in order to fully empty out and not even get mastitis, okay? Because that is not a joke. If you don't know what mastitis is, definitely I would encourage you to look that up. I can even put that up here somewhere, but it's not fun. You can definitely get it's infection and all. I mean, ER visit and all that. It's not pretty, but I did that, and I was very successful. I mean, I was pumping anywhere from minimum 6 to 10 ounces minimum, and I even to the point where I was able to feed, and I'm still able to give milk to my eldest, milk to him at least once a day, a bottle of breast milk a day, and then I'm freezing. But the point is that that's not even important, excuse me. The other thing that I want to talk about is that I noticed that there's for me, it just might with my experience with my first, and just trying to pump and just trying to breastfeed, and it did hurt. It was very, like I said, it was a very traumatic situation where he just wasn't receiving enough food. It was very traumatic, and for me, it was just disappointing. I felt like, wow, I can't do this. I wanted to do it. People were telling me, specialists were telling me to do it, doctors were telling me to do it. I saw it on social media. That may be your experience. I saw it being promoted where, you know, some women were producing like deep freezer loads of like of milk, and I thought like, okay, like if I can't do that, am I even supporting my baby? Am I supporting my child? Or am I even capable to do what I need to do as a mother? And I felt like I failed, but that is not true. So if that is you, if you're not able to have a certain milk supply, or if you feel like you aren't making enough, which is what is enough, you know what I mean? The other thing is, some kids, just because one kid is drinking 3 ounces doesn't mean that at 2 months your kid is going to drink 3 ounces. And this is just an example, it's not literal, so don't, it's not according to that, but every baby is different. Just like I said in the beginning, where it's not a one shoe fits all kind of thing, it's the same thing with babies. Every baby is different. So with my eldest, he was drinking a certain amount of milk at 3 months, compared to my second born. He's drinking basically the same amount that he was drinking since he was like 2 months. He's gonna be 4 months very soon. So it's just like, not getting caught up in that. But just to backtrack again, I just want to encourage all the mamas out there to know that you are doing it, that you are able to be in control of the situation, like, and also of your emotions, and knowing that, hey, like, you are doing enough, and that you are enough for your child, and that whether you choose to pump, breastfeed, or formula feed, all that matters is that you are saying that you are mentally there, and that your baby's okay. The other thing is, not everyone can breastfeed. I made a video about this on my Instagram. If you haven't checked it out, check it out at my Instagram. It's Marissa Ulysses. I talk about it, and I just list about, I think, 5 different things on why fed is best. And one of the things that I talked about is supply, like my situation, where not everyone's supply is equally the same. The other thing is, some people just don't even want to breastfeed. Like, some people don't want to pump, and for their own reasons, which is fine, because there is other options. Like, the kid will be all right. They will not starve. There's formula available. Some people even do, like, they buy breast milk from another friend, or something like that. So that's also, that can something that can work due to varying to one person's situation. The other thing is that some people, maybe the baby's in the NICU and a situation happens, or they have to go to work, and now they're not able to do what they want to do. And then the other thing is sanity. Like, breastfeeding is a job. Not only is motherhood or being a parent a job, but as a mom and a stay-at-home mom, I can say, like, I feel like each of these things have a category. So it's like, whatever's going to bring me sanity and help me sleep better and just be able to be there mentally for my kids, that's what I'm going to do. If it's something that I feel like, okay, like, hey, what are the pros and the cons to this, to make sure that I'm showing up 100% for my kids every day, and for my household, and also for my husband, to make sure that I'm just in a well-balanced place mentally, physically. The other thing that's not talked about, that if you are breastfeeding, yes, you're hungry. I experienced more hunger than I did when I was pregnant, breastfeeding. Yes, some people talk about, oh, well, formula is expensive. Well, the thing is, you end up buying more groceries to feed and replace the calories that you're burning out from feeding the baby. Yeah, that's the thing. The other thing is that the pro and cons, since I'm talking about this right now, and it's just also these are just things and information that I wish I knew, so that I'm just sharing with you guys. The other thing is, like I said earlier, is that your nipples can be damaged. I will say, please, 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 if you're looking into breastfeeding or just pumping in general, please see a specialist before, even during, and after you give birth. Yeah, I know for sure in the future that is something that I will do, and that is something that I would recommend to every mom or parent who potentially wants or is seeking or has a baby or is pregnant, because it is a real thing. It can prevent so much unnecessary issues that can just be resolved if you just go out and see see a specialist, someone that can help you, someone who has the knowledge on this area, because it's more than what I'm even sharing. There's so much information that I personally don't even know, because I'm not an expert. Like I said, I'm just sharing my experience with you guys to just shed some light on some things. But yes, you can damage your nipples if the baby is not latching well. My second born, he had a tongue tie, so that was also a thing to consider. That's a whole different ball game. So like, if your child has a tongue tie, you may not even know. But some signs to even look out for it is just if they're not gaining weight, or if they're the way that they're eating. Sometimes there's painful or discomfort within nipples. That's some of the things that I was experiencing. So again, these are just some things to consider, and to also just weigh out and just, seek the Lord about. Ultimately, like, hearing this advice, hearing the counsel from not only myself, maybe it's your peers, maybe it's your parents, maybe it's the OBGYN, like it was for me. But ultimately you take these things, and I would recommend seek the Lord about it. Pray about it. Okay, Lord, what is it that you desire for me to do on this journey of not only motherhood, but as a unit with my spouse, because also including them, you guys are one. So this is just some things to think about. And if you guys have any questions about just some of the things that I talked about, please write them down in the comment section, and let me know. And if there's some other things that you guys would like to know, or you would like to see as far as video wise, I can definitely talk about it. Just again, write them down in the comment section. I'll be more than happy to talk about it, and just discuss more on what this is and what this looks like, because like I said, there's so much more that I'm sure I didn't even touch on. But I'm really happy, and I hope that this actually I'm hoping that this encourages someone out there to know, like I said in the beginning, that you are enough, that you you are able to feed your baby, and to know that they are getting the nutrients that they need, regardless of what it is, whether it's from you breastfeeding, pumping, or from feeding them formula. At the end of the day, all that matters is your sanity, and that the baby is well kept, and that your household is full of peace.